Hi folks, this is Shelly from Shelly Wilson Studios. Welcome to my art channel. Today we're working on a cloud pour. Here are the colors that we're going to be using today. I will go through them each as I'm pouring them into the cup, and you can always find all of my colors and my recipes in the video descriptions as well. So they're listed out there for you if you have any questions. This canvas is a 12-inch round wood cradled board, and I've covered it with some leftover blue paint that I had from a previous pour. The first color I'm putting into my cup is this little piggy Twinkle. It is an interference blue, purple, pink kind of color. It's got a lot of different color shifts in it. It's really beautiful. On top of that, I am putting Amsterdam Paynes gray. Each of these paints is mixed up with 1 part paint to 2 parts Floetrol. And I do that by weight. So I measured out like 10 grams of paint and then add 20 grams of Floetrol. This next paint is Atelier's Pthalo Turquoise, and I added about 5 grams of that to about 5 grams of transparent mixing white, so it's about half and half mixing white and turquoise. I wanted to brighten it up a little bit because I think the Atelier Pthalo Turquoise is like really dark in the tube, which is fine if that's what you're after, but I wanted something a bit brighter. Next up, I'm putting my cloud mix. This cloud mix is Artist Loft Soft Body Acrylics White mixed with 1 part of that to 1 part of DecoArt Satin Enamels and 2 parts of American Floetrol, roughly. I went in with some more cloud mix, and I kind of wish I wouldn't have because I think I probably had a bit too much cloud mix in this one. I should have gone with a bit more Pthalo Turquoise and a bit more of this color, which is Liquitex Quinacridone Magenta, and maybe a little less cloud mix, but you guys can tell me what you think if you have thoughts on this matter once you see the final piece. So let's see, after the Quinacridone Magenta, I'm coming in with a mixture of TLP, This Little Piggy Nightfall, and This Little Piggy Sapphire. I had those left over from a previous pour and I didn't want to waste them, but I didn't have enough of either one of them to use on their own, so I kind of mixed them together because I thought blues and purples, why not? I want to scrape every little bit out of that cup because I love those piggies and I don't want to waste them. And the last color that I'm coming in with now is Atelier's Prussian Blue. It's a really nice deep blue. It has kind of greenish tones that you can't see it here when it's spread out on a white background, which it won't be, but you know, just saying it's a really nice color. And that's it that's going into my cup. So I'm going to scrape the bottom of all of my cups and dump out the extra onto this canvas to give it a little bit of a cushion to help it move. So that's the leftovers from my Paynes gray. And then I'll scrape out the leftovers from my Prussian blue. I actually probably should have added a little bit more to help it move towards the edges a little more freely. So, you know, in retrospect, maybe add a little bit more, give yourself a little bit more of a cushion for your paints to move on. And I should warn you too, if you're going to be subscribing to my channel, you're going to have to deal with me chatting at you basically the entire time, or you can put me on mute. That's always a possibility as well. In my my day job, I'm an instructor in college classes. I teach anthropology and biology, and so I'm used to filling the silence is my point, because, you know, anthropology, sometimes I have 3-hour long classes or, you know, my hour-and-a-half long biology classes, and I have absolutely no problem talking for 3 hours straight. So that's what you're going to get on this channel is my commentary, because leaving it with just silence is so strange to me. But I will try and share all the things that I'm learning as I'm going because I'm learning a lot. I've done a few of these cloud pours now. I am no expert. If you want an expert, I would say go to Sarah Mack DecoArt on YouTube. She's amazing. She has a lot of really great galaxy pours. She's been doing it for a long time. Gina DeLuca is like the OG of cloud pours if you want to go to her channel. And this palette was actually inspired by Willie B Studios. You can find her on YouTube as well, because I loved the turquoise and magenta that she did on either side of the cloud mix, and I wanted to recreate that. So you'll notice I have the cup really close to the canvas. And what I've noticed is it helps to have a flat lip cup if you want these wide ribbons of color that have these really stable lines, because the wide mouth means more of the paint is pouring out at a time, so you get a wider ribbon. And I've also noticed, like if you use one with a spout, it's going to funnel it closer together, so you're not going to get these wide, distinct kind of ribbons. Also, moving back and forth like I am in this, moving this cup back and forth, I noticed it pushed the white out a lot further. If you just pour it straight out, it gives you, I don't know how to describe it without pointing to things, but you'll notice how the white is much wider. It's kind of, taking up 2/3 almost of each of the sides, and you're only getting this kind of narrow strip of color. I think if I would have just done a straight pour there, it probably would have been less distinct. There would have been less white showing up, because I do think it kind of takes over. So, but anyway, back to the spout thing, right? The spout kind of funnels it into a very like direct stream that's, much less wide. So if you want those wide ribbons of color, I would say use a flat mouth cup and pour it close to the canvas, because if you hold it up higher, your ribbons are going to get thinner before they hit the canvas. If you keep it down low, you'll get those wide fat ribbons. So it just depends on what look you're going for. If you want distinct ribbons, keep it close and use a flat mouth cup. If you want it kind of fuzzier around the edges and less distinct, pour from higher up and use something with a spout. I always try to wait until the end of the cup to do this spiral in the center. And for whatever reason, when you're pouring these cups out, the first part goes really, really fast. And as you get towards the bottom, it seems to take forever to get that last little bit out. I always think in retrospect, I probably should have waited a little bit longer and kept on doing a straight pour for a little bit longer, but I am impatient, and it takes forever to do these. This is in real time. This isn't sped up at all. I am going to speed it up when we get to the spinning part, because I think the spinning just, I don't know, it's boring to watch, because this is kind of boring to watch if I'm being totally honest with myself. But at least something's happening here. I don't know, like watching it spin out is just an exercise in making yourself dizzy. I do let it sit here for a minute, and I do torch it very quickly a couple of times. I'm not really trying to pull up more cells. By torching it, I'm just trying to pop any of the air bubbles that are stuck in there so that they don't come out and leave pinholes in the final painting, because I really hate pinholes. So I always screw up the dismount on those cups. Like I never get my finger under it at just the right time to get that perfect spiral. So that's something to work on. So I just fixed it with my wood skewer, so the center wasn't all wonky looking and strange. And then, like I said, I torched it a little bit just to try and pop those bubbles. I'm not trying to bring up cells or anything. I'm just trying to keep the pinpricks from happening. I start out this, so this is sped up 5 times, just for your reference. This is actually spinning much, much slower than this. And I spin really slowly while I'm trying to stretch these out so that I can make sure that it's centered, and adjust it as I go, because on a round canvas, and you're doing a round puddle, I really want the final product to be round. So that's what I'm going for here. I think I was walking away and doing some cleaning and stuff while it was spinning, and it stopped and I didn't notice, but here we go again. I'm kind of recentering it and then spinning it out some more. We're getting close to the edge now. Like I said, I really could have used a little bit of extra paint around that first puddle to help it spread out a bit more evenly and quickly. Now we're really close to the edge and I'm like, it's just struggling so much and I didn't want it to start getting wonky around the edges. So I threw on some extra paint just where it looked like it needed it to help it flow over the edge as evenly as possible. Getting all those little spaces. And there we go. That'll help it go the last little bit off the edge. Looking pretty good, I think. I'm getting dizzy watching this. Okay, here's the final product. Thanks for sticking around and joining me on my channel. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks again.